Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another webinar. First of all, can everybody hear me okay? And can you see the screen? You should be looking at the Forex Factory calendar. And I am still working remotely and I will be for the next week. And that means I've got one computer screen. So I'm actually just going to log into my phone and watch the chat from there because I can't watch it from the screen because I'm using it. So, right, what have we got? We've got 9 people online. So, morning, Vinco, Ian, Matthew, is it Max, Sarah, welcome. So, can everybody hear me okay? And can you see the Forex Factory calendar okay? All okay, fantastic. Okay, this is YouTube Live, so there is around a 15-second delay. I'm working remotely and I'm only using a laptop instead of my 4 monitors, and it's not connected to the Ethernet. It is Wi-Fi, though the signal is very good. I did a test on it last night and there was no issues. But if you guys are having problems with buffering or the sound is going crackly, it could be a problem with the internet. But so far, everybody's giving me the thumbs up. So, pretty happy this morning. Been up quite a long time. Eventually, on the pound yen, we're starting to see some movement in the right direction. I know a lot of you, because it's such a large trade, has been like, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? It's worth hundreds of pips. What's going to happen? And I'll, oh, good grief, guys. Would you bear with me 1 second? I'm actually in Sherwood and I've got somebody knocking on the hotel door room. Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, apologies for that. Right. First of all, my phone's gone off, so I can't see the chat. Yeah, room service. Do you want your room cleaning today? Well, I've just got rid of the wife and the kids. Uh, and I was hoping for some peace and quiet, but no, room service is here. So, Hassan, welcome. I've lost my train of thought now, and I need my mobile to stay on so I can read this chat. Nick, morning to you as well. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the way the pound yen is currently going. But before we go into that, a few things. The purpose of this room is to review the opportunities that meet the rules outlined in the educational material at free forexeducation.co.uk. And in other words, it means that we will only take trades that meet the rules that's in the educational material. And when it doesn't meet those rules, we skip over it and we wait for a valid or a more profitable opportunity. Now, I actually don't have anything at market, though I am in a few trades, which I will run through shortly. I did want to go over, though, I've been having quite a long conversation with Todd regarding a question on the educational material, and it's very difficult over email to try and figure out exactly, what he means, and then what he can't quite understand me. Why does my mobile keep going off? Stay on, come on. Stay on, I can't read the chat otherwise. Morning, George. So unless anybody's got anything at market, I'm going to go ahead and look at that for Todd. In fact, Todd, just give me a hello if you're in the room. If not, I will skip over it for the time being. Um, I'll just give it a second for this 15-second delay. If anybody has anything at market or anything they want to look at, please let me know. I did have quite a few opportunities on the radar, but they were blown out of the water, to be honest with you, with just with the rallies that we've seen this morning. So, Okay, so what I'll do is then I'll crack on with a few of these opportunities. Um, let's have a look. I've only got a few charts loaded. Again, guys, if you remember from the last webinar, I'm using a laptop, just a single screen instead of my four. So don't have all the charts open. So you guys will have to help me out as we go through this. And 1 second, guys, my phone keeps turning itself off. Why are you turning yourself off? You should be staying on. Does anybody know why the phone would turn itself off when you're on YouTube Live? Should not be doing that. So let me click on that and try it again. Okay, and I'll turn the sound down and we'll give that a go. Okay, so everyone can still hear me okay? If so, we'll just crack on. Just give me a yes, please. Just want to make sure that everyone can still hear me. Yeah, okay. All right, guys, we'll crack on with the Aussie dollar CAD. Where's my list gone? Where's my list? So we were in an Aussie dollar CAD trade. Exited for 4 pips, those of you that received the signal, because we violated the double bottom, and I'll just show you what I mean. So here on the dailies, if I put 2 structure levels on, one at the close of the candle, one at the low of the candle, then we're actually putting in now a double bottom. However, this is not going to be valid for me. And can anybody tell me why? And I'll give you a clue. First of all, it is not the RSI because we do have the RSI confirmation. Can anybody tell me why this double bottom is not valid for me? Because it has come into major structure, it has come into the wicks, we have held structure, we've even come into a psychological number, 9100. But if I leave my crosshairs just around here, can anybody tell me why for me this is not a high probability trade, and even though it meets the rules for the double bottom, why I would not be taking it? Don't worry if you're right or wrong. I want these webinars to be engaging. I want you to engage because that's the best way that you can learn into structure. Nice, Nick. Mickle, I have called you Mickle for weeks, weeks on end. Now I know your proper name, Nick, since you've registered. Nick's also now a fully subscribed member, so welcome to the team, Nick. And so is Sarah. I think Sarah's in the chat as well, in the webinar as well. Yeah, the top came into structure. So if I put a structure level on there, what we don't want to see is for a valid double bottom, but the top of it actually come into where we would project targets to come into. Because technically, even though this meets all the rules for the double bottoms, we've already tested the structure level that I would have expected. Now, if we'd not hit this level right here, it would be a different story. It'd be a very large trade anyway because it's on the daily, so we may not be able to take it for that reason. But here is a classic example where we have major structure, double bottom, RSI, psychological number. However, one of the rules were not met, and it's those rules that keep us out of those losing trades or those lower probability trades. So let's go and take a look at the 240. And I never had time this morning to do the video for it for everyone that got the signal for this trade. So I will just run through what I was looking at. There's nothing here on the 240. So let's drop down to the 60, which is where the trade was. So we had a swing in the market. We had a directional move. And then if we draw out based on the closes of the candles, and we duplicate it even and move it down, we had a valid channel. I'm going to end up doing that the entire webinar, putting in the wrong arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4. The rule for any descending or ascending channel is one of the sides must not touch the closes of the candles, and that's exactly what we did here. it's a sign that we're coiling or wedging, and we could see a channel forming. So what I then did was drop down to the 15, and as we drop down to the 15, we're allowed to move this lower to the very low of the lowest point just here. And as long as that structure level is not violated, then we have a valid double bottom, and this is how it looked. So we had let me see if we can stretch this out a little bit. So this is how it looked when I got involved. We had there it is again, the arrow the wrong way. We had a test and a test. We had the RSI confirmation. We had the channel. Valid opportunity. Now, these channels, when I go over in the educational material, if you catch one, you can actually end up getting 3 to 4, even 5 winners in a row, and literally you can end up banking several hundred pips over the course of 12 hours to 2 days. They can be very profitable, but of course they don't always come off, and this one didn't come off. And what happened is, as we went along, we held structure. In fact, I'm just going to remove that and put in another structure level. So basic structure hold and violation rules here. If we were to close below this level, this would be a confirmed violation. Another word for a violation is a confirmed break below, close below. Chris, very, very quiet. I've got a new mic. So I'm testing that out. So just let me move it a bit closer, and don't know if that will make any difference, Chris. What I don't want to do is for it to start picking up my breathing, because it's one of those that doesn't have the muffle on the end. But is that any better for you, Chris? Try and move it a little bit closer. See if that's any better for you. I actually prefer my other mic, but let me know if that's better for you. So yeah, this was a valid double bottom here. And as we move across, we still held structure. We move across, we still held structure, still held, and right here we violated structure. So this was a violation. I actually ended up exiting for 4 pips, and the risk on this trade was only 9 pips. However, it's a saving of 5 pips, so I'm quite happy there to take a loss of just 4 pips. Give me 10 of those a day, and you know, make 3 of them winners for 30 pips. That's great. Does anybody else think that it's very quiet, the microphone? Just give me a yes or a no, or is it only Chris? And while I'm waiting for your response, that's what I had on this currency pair. I was hoping we were going to get a falling channel where we could buy the market up because we had the confirmation. Yeah, rather quiet. It's this new microphone. 1 second, see if I can turn it up. Oh, that's just the volume for me. Okay, guys, 1 second. I'm going to swap over to my other mic and see if I can get that one working. Okay, guys, I've got the new mic plugged in. Just let me know if you can actually hear me. Okay, guys, I've got the new mic plugged in. Just give me a yes if you can now hear me on it. That's better. Yeah, sorry, I'm actually working away, Khan, so there is a bit of an echo in the room. I'm afraid you just have to put up with that. I'm away for a week or so.
Yeah, but echoes. Okay. A bit echoey. Okay, maybe if I speak a little bit quieter, it might not be quite as echoey. So nothing then really here on the Aussie dollar CAD. Anybody got anything on this currency pair? In the hotel room, I'm actually down south, Sherwood Forest, and it's actually a cabin, and so there isn't that much furniture in here. So yeah, a bit echoey. You're in the bathroom now. If you hear some running water, then I am. So nothing here on the Aussie dollar CAD. I'll keep my voice down a little bit because that may help a little bit with the echo. So nothing on the Aussie dollar CAD. What else was we looking at? New Zealand dollar. Marcus waiting for a break below, close below structure. Let's go and take a look at that. Yeah, if we were to violate this level just here, then I've not got enough data loaded here, but we could see a nice move to the downside, particularly since if we can violate this 9100 psychological number, that could be quite a nice trade. Yeah, get a pullback for a short entry as well. Apart from that, I've got nothing right now on this currency pair, unless you're also looking at this, Marcus, where you're looking for a pullback into this level and then looking for a retest. That might be something that you're looking at. What else did we have? I've scrubbed half of these out. New Zealand dollar, let's go and take a quick look at that. If you guys remember, this was a trade idea I posted yesterday. It was an alternate flag. And with these alternate flags, well, I'll run through the rules. Here on the dailies, there isn't a great deal, but if we put a structure level on, we've got a level that's been tested 3 times. We've got a violation to the top side. And so if you are a 2618 trader, then you would be looking at buying up that 61.8 and looking for maybe a retest of the highs or even a continuation here a lot higher. I'm personally not a 2618 trader, though I do use it within my other strategies to add confluence there. So, but if we go down to the 240, these alternate flags is something I came across when I did my back testing, and very, very profitable they are. They don't happen that often, but I will run through what we had. So first of all, we also had a winning back pattern here. Now it never gave me an entry, so this wasn't something that I could post into the signal service. You can see it hit targets, the 382. And if we drop down to the 60-minute, no can, we've only done the Aussie dollar CAD and we're on the New Zealand dollar. So no, not done the Euro Aussie. I did have a potential flag, but that's been blown out the water now. So we'll take a look at that shortly. So the alternate flag doesn't happen very often, but you're looking for a swing in the market, and the pole has to be very, very directional. Typically, it's just one candle. If not, it's all the same colour. So you can see we've got a very directional pole here. And just like all flag patterns, it adheres to a channel, but the difference is the channel doesn't need a minimum of 2 touches either side. And what you find is that roughly 90% of the candles are the same colour. And what I was looking for was for an area where instead we broke out the trade. Now, targets for me, I said yesterday, were a retest of the candle closes minus a few pips, because we never want to play for the lows. So if I'd missed my entry here, but we'd had the confirmed breakout, and remember, if we break out of the channel, and in this instance I know that we have a high probability of going lower, particularly if we break out in the direction that we want to go, which is bearish, Do you think I should just rub my hands of it and delete the entire chart, or is there something else I can do, or should I just, because I've missed the optimum entry, should I just leave the trade? What should I do? Should I still look for other opportunities, or should I just delete and move on to the next currency pair? What would you guys do? And I never got an entry on this, which was a real shame. Doesn't matter if your answers are right or wrong, just chuck them in the chat. Wait for another opportunity, that's right. There are always 3 times you can get involved with the trade. The first time is when you get your optimum entry, which is the turning point right at the top. The second time is on its way down to its destination. And the third time is when we're down at the bottom, we can look for maybe a counter trend move or even a continuation move. So that allows us to have multiple opportunities within a trade where we've maybe missed the optimum entry. And I'm going to drop down to the 15, and I posted this within the chat forum. So if you was in the chat yesterday, you would have seen it. And I posted this. So we had the breakout, a pullback, and a move lower. So what's this called, guys? If we have 1, 2, and this makes the third move, this is indicative of a trend. It's a 3-point move. So what we would do is we'd highlight the outside return, and that goes from the very highs to the very lows. Let me do that again, the very highs to the very lows. And what would I have been waiting for in this instance? So if this trade was live, like this, what am I going to be waiting for, guys, to get an opportunity into this trade? Because I know that this is an alternate flag. I know we have a high probability of retesting the lows, and I know that we've broken out in the direction that we wanted. So everything is coming together and indicating we're going lower. We've had a 3-point move, so what is it that I'm now going to be waiting for to get an entry to short the market? Hey Stu. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we were waiting for is we were waiting for a pullback into this blue area. Okay, this is called either the outside return or the price reversal zone or the kill zone, Ian. Yeah, exactly. I actually like the kill zone. I just think it's got a ring to it. And simple trend continuation strategy we can use then. Understanding how to read trend, structure violation. Very, very simple. We have got a 3-point move. We're looking for a pullback into that structure level, and we would look to short. Now, unfortunately, what happened is we never got the pullback, but look, we went on to retest the lows. And it's very important, I've touched on this before, that some people will only get involved at the very highs, and since they've missed their entry, they go, oh, forget it, the entry's lost. But these patterns, these alternate flag patterns, are very high probability. In fact, they can be up to 80%, believe it or not, if we have the right situations where we come into structure, we have fibs, we have a psychological number, we have a double top. They can be up to 80% win rate. But if I miss my, say the entry happened at 4 in the morning when I was asleep, catching up on my beauty sleep because I need lots of it. But then I wake up and we've had a 3-point move. I'm not going to say, oh, I've missed this trade, that's the end of it. Heck no. If it has a 60, 70, 80% chance of going on to hit my targets, I'm going to be looking for other alternate reasons to get involved. And this is very, very simple trend continuation. Does everybody understand that? If we got the pullback here, we would have simply waited for a lower low, lower close, and we would have rode it down. And you'll find that if you have a lot of strategies like I do, you'll have a lot of trades that go on to win. You'll predict the entry, the stop, the target, and you'll be right, but you won't get the entry. It won't give you the signal. And you guys have been with me now for quite a while, but particularly the last few weeks or so, and especially a couple of weeks ago, we had like 8 trades where we predicted the move, the entries, the stops, the targets. Pretty much all of them went on to win, but we never got the confirmation. And we do have to wait for confirmation, because it's that confirmation that keeps us out of losing trades. Yeah. So unless anybody has anything then on the New Zealand dollar, I don't think I did. Let me just go back out to the 240. We were just in consolidation for me here. There was nothing. Yeah, not much here for me. So if there's no questions, yeah, Bo, so we didn't come into the kill zone, so it was a trade that went on to win, but we couldn't get the entry, or it didn't give us the retracement to get the entry. Yeah, Chris, I'm using the other mic now. Would you, right, okay, I've searched all over for some decent mics. The mic I'm using currently is 7 years old. When I had my call centre about, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, well, probably 7 years ago, this is one of the existing mics, and I paid like, I don't know, £120 for it back then. Well, I searched all over for a decent mic, and the one that you heard me on before, which I also did my videos on, I paid £80 for, and the quality isn't as good. And I need a spare one, because if this one breaks, then I'm pretty knackered, to be honest with you. So I'll have to go out and buy another one. I've just wasted about 80 quid on that one. So, but yeah, I'm using my original mic, so hopefully that's better. But I am talking quietly because I'm in a lodge at the moment, and there's echoes around. So nothing on the New Zealand dollar. So let me scrub that out, and we will move on to. Okay, we will take a look at the euro dollar. Okay, I don't have anything on the euro dollar, but it is looking like we could get a breakout to the downside. And again, if you just joined us, I see we've got a few new people now. If you've got any currency pairs you want to look at, or anything you're not too sure what we're talking about, just chuck it in the chat and I'll go over it. Yeah, Akil uses a stand-up mic. The problem with that is it actually gets in the way of your computer screen unless your computer screen is up off the ground. And I actually as well have problems with my hands, so I use two mice or two mouses, whatever's correct. I've got a special one for my right hand, which is an ergonomic one, and just a normal mouse in the left hand, and I swap between the two. Because I've done so much work over the years, then I like to split how much time I spend on the mouse. So, anyway, euro dollar, I've been predicting a move down to this level, just here, which is the close of the candles, and you can see we've just actually now come down to that level. And let me talk through why I was predicting a move down to there. So here on the 240, what we were doing is we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, and as I drop down to the 60, then we were looking, well, I was looking at this just here. So we had this, and we had this, and I was looking at this being a flag pattern. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. The problem for me is that for it to be valid, I actually think I took the pole from up here. I need it to come into a 382, and it didn't. And so I couldn't get involved with the trade. We never hit that 382, which is one of the criteria I need for this form of flag pattern. Nevertheless, what we did is we broke out, and you can see now that we are pushing lower, and we have pushed lower down to this 112 psychological number. So if we are now down at this structure level, I'm just going to go ahead here and highlight it by putting a trend line in on the close of the candles and also on the low of the wicks. Remember, this is the price reversal zone. This is the area we want to look for our two rotation patterns. It's going to be a double bottom or a head and shoulders. So as we approach that area, I'm going to be allowed to drop down to the time frame and look for one of those entry reasons. Now, just the way price is moving, it doesn't look as though we're going to get something like that. But you never know. If we just rally straight down here, put in a little double bottom, we can maybe have tight stops here and look for a move back up into the structure level, which is previous structure, something like that. So nothing right now, but we'll keep an eye on it, see if we get a double bottom or a head and shoulders. Yamaha or Boss Pro. With me being in Tenerife, I'm very, very limited on the headsets I can get. In actual fact, you can order them from Amazon, but Amazon, you have to pay import duty when it comes to Tenerife. You don't to anywhere else in Europe or to anywhere else in Spain, but to Tenerife they charge you. And the postal service you have about a 60% chance of getting your post. So ordering something from there is not ideal. But I'm in England at the moment. I'm here for a week, so I'll have a look around for another headset, a better quality one. So anybody got anything then on the euro dollar? Because other than that, that's all I have. Okay. Morning, Cody. Cody's off his holiday now. He's back at work, aren't you, Cody? Or you still have a few days off? Go and take a look at the Euro New Zealand. We have an AB equals CD pattern and a potential double top. I'm mid-England, middle of the country. I've actually got a couple of meetings this week and I've got to do some work for another business that I have. But currently I'm in a lodge in Sherwood Forest with the kids. They're having a couple of days here, an adventure, a couple of days adventure going around Sherwood Forest, and I'm sat here working. So here on the Euro New Zealand, bigger picture, we could be looking at a head and shoulders here. It could be looking at something like this. Move higher, pull back and move higher. We double topped. We then had a move lower. And with this move down to here, we actually violated the outside return. So this means that we have a potential trend rotation. This is a long way off, but we could look for potentially a pullback and shorting opportunities then. But that's a good way off. Did we have a cipher pattern here? I think it just fell short of the 127. Yeah, it did. So what we are doing right now, though, is if we go ahead and highlight from the closes of the candles to the low of the wicks, then we can look for the first chance entry and look at shorting the market based on this violation, because if we have just violated, well, first of all, we've got a double top, which is the rotation pattern, and we rotated and we broke to the downside. We violated the outside return. Not only that, but the next area I would predict price to come to is this next level of major structure. Look how many tests we've got here. We've got 1, do that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is certainly an area that's been respected in the past, and since we've got the confirmation we've broke to the downside, then we can now start looking for shorting opportunities down to this level. Khan, that's what you're looking at. You're quite an active trader, aren't you, Khan? I know that you're quite active within the chat, but you're also, I think you're always in quite a few trades, aren't you? The problem I have here is this is a bit ugly. I did have an opportunity on this the other day, which came off, but I didn't get an entry. So let's just read what the trend has done on the 240. We had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, and look at where we pulled back to. We pulled back right up to the highs just here. Then we saw a very shallow pullback. Now if I just highlight the wicks here to the left, I'll actually just put on a structure level, it's easier. You can actually see that just here we held structure. We were unable to violate that level. So we have the dailies indicating that we could go lower. Here on the 240, we're in trend, but we've actually come right back up to retest the highs. We came lower, failed to violate this level of structure, and we've come back up to the tops again. So just as Stuart mentioned there's a potential head and shoulders. Now, this isn't one that I can trade, and I'm going to explain why, or at least not yet anyway, and I'll explain why. A head and shoulders, the way I look at it is a head and shoulders is a rotation pattern. And that means in order for it to rotate, well, let me ask you guys, when we see price rotate, when it reverses from a point, does it just reverse from anywhere, from the middle of nowhere, or does it reverse from a structure point? And that structure point, if it's a major level, do we not see the market see a bigger reaction? From structure, exactly, yeah. So double tops, head and shoulders, they rotate, they turn when we're at structure. Now, not all the time, doesn't happen all the time, but typically head and shoulders happens after a long rally, and here's one right here. Okay, there's a swing in the market. Remember, head and shoulders is a pattern, so typically we're looking for a swing in the market. We see a rally. We see a small pullback as this big rally runs out of steam. Remember, it's a pattern, and with most patterns we have poles, and that means direct movement. We see a small amount of relief, and then the bulls try to take over and push higher, and they do. They do manage to push higher, only by a small amount, and then they run out of steam, and the bears take over. Boom. And right here, we violate the outside return. So this is called an initial structure low. This is all in the training material on the website, by the way. So this is an indication that we could see a rotation in trend. And what happened is the bulls tried to take over again, failed to retest the highs, and if you look, did we do it? Yep, if I just highlight the wicks of the left shoulder just here, we did not, and I'm just going to double check that we didn't. We may have done. I'd have to measure it. But we came up, we ran out of steam, and from that point we reversed. So head and shoulders pattern. Now, did this pattern come into a major level of structure? Well, maybe not. Maybe it did. We have it there. Then we've got a level of structure here, here, here. So not a actually, let's keep going. No, nothing there. So it did come into structure, but not a major level of structure. So this for me wasn't a head and shoulders I could trade because I didn't know it was a head and shoulders until it actually formed. So I only take them when we come into structure. So just going back to this point here, if I put a structure level on at the very lows just here and look left for structure, well, there isn't any. There's no structure here. Most recent structure is going to be more powerful than historic structure. So as we look left, there just isn't any. So this could be a head and shoulders, but I would not trade this until we had, and let me just draw it out again. So this is the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, the violation, a pullback, and then I'd have to look for something like a double bottom here to get long. Okay, just catch up with the chat. Exactly, Coda, yeah. Structure usually major and it will react again in the future. So the more times the structure level has been tested or the bigger the reaction, okay, the higher the probability we're going to see a reaction. Can't I'm indeed work like the screener for opportunity and the one give more reasons to invest and go for it. Yeah, quite an active trader, Khan. Another head and shoulders there. Love that setup. My thoughts too, Cody. Doesn't look like it broke if it didn't. Lovely setup. Okay, so that's what I would be looking at here. But right now, guys, we have no confirmation that this is a head and shoulders, do we? It looks like one, but as per the higher time frame, right now, this is setting up for a retest of the lows. But this is where, yes, a little bit of judgment comes into play. First of all, if we were going to see a move lower and this was a decent trend continuation trade, we would likely only see price come to here and then we'd see it continue. Instead, we saw a full retracement back up to this level. So we've got conflicting signals here. We've got the potential of a head and shoulders, and not only that, we pulled lower, and again we've come back up to here, and we've now tested once, twice. This is actually the third time we're back up in this zone, and we have failed to move lower. So right now, this is one of those situations where, for me personally, I'm just going to wait, because the daily is indicating to me lower, but here on the 240, we've come up to this level 3 times. That's indicating that the market cannot push lower, and we do have a potential head and shoulders, but without the confirmation. Okay, doesn't look like it broke. If it didn't, lovely setup. Not until we violate the next line. Yeah, exactly, Stu. I mean, you can be aggressive with this, and you can either aggressively sell it right now or aggressively buy it right now. There is no right or wrong way. It's just the way I trade them. For me, this head and shoulders hasn't come into a structure level down here. I'm going to put that structure level back on. It hasn't. So therefore, based on the higher time frame, the dailies, and this, I'm looking bearish. But the 240 is contradicting it, because if we were going to go bearish, we likely would have made the move by now. So I'm simply going to wait for more confirmation. BOSA, it has an ABCD pattern from the head to the neckline. Are you talking about targets? Because if we do that and duplicate it, then yes, targets could be an AB equals CD pattern up here, if that's what you're talking about. Cody, Chris, can you take it if the right shoulder would exceed the left, creating a higher high? Okay. Chris, can you take it if the right shoulder would exceed the left, creating a higher high, being more aggressive, taking it at the bottom of the right shoulder? Okay, so if we were to do this, then what Cody is saying is that if price pushed down to here and violated, and I'm going to move this up, and violated the left shoulder, can I still take the trade? Now, the other thing you have to ask is that, is this setup a lower probability because we violated the left shoulder compared to if we'd held the left shoulder? Which do you think is the safer option? If we held the left shoulder or if we violated it? Which would be the higher the probability? Cody, are you looking, yeah, if we held it, exactly. If we're looking at buying the market up, then if we hold the left shoulder, then this is a higher probability, because if we do this, if we can get hold of it, then basically, in my opinion, we're looking at trend continuation, and we go back to my original thought, which is on the dailies, we're going to come down to retest the lows. So what you can do, and I implement this quite often, I implement it every time the rules are met. When we come down into the wicks of the left shoulder, I'm just going to highlight them. What do you think I do to look for an entry? Give me a couple of entry reasons that I can look for. And I'll give you a clue for, first of all, I would drop one time frame lower, and I'm going to be looking in the wicks of the left shoulder. What could I look for? Yeah, Marcus, double bottom, okay? So as we drop down to the 60, and would you believe, look at that, I'd missed it. I'd missed it. Now, if this is a potential head and shoulders and we have no confirmation of it, but look left at the left shoulder, we have 1, 2, 3, there's another test here, 4, that made 5. Was there a high probability of getting a double bottom here, considering it's the left shoulder of a potential head and shoulders, but has been tested 5 times? Did this have a high probability of being a double bottom? Look at the RSI as well. You had the RSI confirmation, oversold with divergence. Yeah, I'd missed this. I'd missed this opportunity. What time did it happen? Oh, look at that, yesterday at 3 o'clock. Yep, that was a missed opportunity, guys. But can you see how we can take a potential head and shoulders without confirmation and be aggressive in one respect because we held the left shoulder, but then be conservative looking for a rotation pattern? Now, if this was real time, you could have either, and I'm going to fatten this up a little bit, dead sick now I've missed that. Anyway, you don't catch them all. But this was your entry here. What could have been a more conservative way to increase the probability of this being a valid double bottom? But no still structure coded, thus giving you less risk and more reward. So you could look here for a 2618 and you just simply look for this point to be violated. You could then wait for the market to pull back for 2618. It didn't. It never pulled back for the 2618, and instead my first targets would have actually been a retest of the highs here, and then I would have looked for the AB equals CD pattern, which is all the way up there. So missed opportunity there, guys. Did not expect to see the double bottom there, but it just goes to prove that even without confirmation that it's a head and shoulders, you can see the signs. Yeah, we held the left shoulder. We had 4, 5, 6 tests in total with the double bottom, the RSI confirmation. If this was a 2618 trade, I would definitely be in this, playing for a retest of the highs and then that AB equals CD pattern. Nick, 17,000 level may be a sticking point for target twos. It could be. That's why in this instance I would have taken first targets here, rolled to break even, and then held for second targets. The good thing is though, is that this double bottom that you've got involved with is not just a double bottom. You have got 6 levels of structure here. 6 levels, so this is a major level of structure. If you didn't want to play for a retest of the highs here, and you just wanted to play for this AB equals CD pattern up to here, then you keep your stop down here. And the chances are that if price came back down to this area, considering it's been tested 6 times, is there not a high probability that level's going to hold and reverse from that point? The more times a level has been tested like this, the higher the probability we're going to see a reaction, particularly if we're indicating that we're going to go higher. So what I'm going to be waiting for now, guys, is because that double bottom here to me gives me confirmation that we're going to go higher, and I'm then going to be waiting for a violation of our highest point, and the highest point is here, and we're then going to be looking for a pullback. Now this highlighted area is the wicks, so we could very well see another rotation pattern. So just because we missed that entry doesn't mean that we're going to miss out on the entire move. Wow, there's a potential 200 pip move here. So yeah, let's wait for a violation to the upside. Of course, if we don't get it, then we wait, because we could still break to the downside. Everybody see how we've broken that down? We're really just taking some very basic strategies here. We're taking rotation patterns and we're implementing them into different time frames. And then what we're doing is we're taking other strategies like a potential head and shoulders and understanding that it isn't one, because it isn't until we violate to the upside, but it's a potential. And I do talk about very often about forming a bias. It's very good to have a bias on a currency pair even without confirmation, because the bias on this is that we have a potential head and shoulders. So let's look for a conservative entry and let's shoot for it, because if you have a 4-to-1 reward to risk, and you know, a smaller amount of risk, maybe 20 pips, it is certainly worth, in my opinion, taking the shot on that trade. Any questions on the Euro New Zealand, guys? That was forget who spotted that. Nick, was it you that spotted the potential head and shoulders? Who was it? Let me scroll back. Bosa, Stuart, Cody. Might have been Cody. Might have been Cody. I'm having to use my phone, guys, to go back through the chat. So let's just take a look at the 15. But missed opportunity. But yeah, that's how it works, guys, and that's how I trade head and shoulders. And it's nothing magical, nothing mythical. It's just implementing multiple strategies, looking for areas, knowing that the left shoulder, if we hold it, we do get very often rotation patterns there, and that gives you great reward to risks, and you know, it really boosts your pips. So it's the Euro New Zealand. Come on, pound Aussie. Want you to go up. How's pound yen doing? Just give me a yes if you're in the pound yen. We've been talking about this for so long. Yeah, we did euro dollar, nothing in it, nothing on it. We're still waiting for this smaller flag pattern to be violated. It may be on the 240. Yeah, we're still waiting for price to violate what is now this very large pin bar, which is a shame because we technically don't have the violation until we get down here. Those of you that registered for trade signals as well, I put in the signal to say that this is one of those rare occasions where you can increase your position size. I advised, well, I put out there that if you're going to do it by 50%. I actually doubled my position size, but I got a better entry than everyone else. And here's the thing, my trading can be more aggressive than the signals. On the signal side of it, I want it to be very profitable, but at the same time, I don't want there to be too much exposure at your end and have a higher chance of you being stopped out. But those of you who implemented a 50% increase in the position size, you know, we are heading lower. We are heading lower. And just bear in mind that I have adjusted my targets. So my targets are now about 10 pips closer than what they were. I've based them on this pattern. So you can see they're just in front of that 127. So for me, this trade, if it hits, is for 171 pips. But because the position size is doubled, it's actually 340 pips that this will be worth to me. It's not very often increase the position size, as I say, but I did on that one. Yep, calm, we're still in it. We're going to hold firm until targets are hit or until stops are hit. This might be a trend reversal. We're going to go on and hit. We have a high probability of that happening, especially with forming another breakout pattern. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. We never know. But this is a high probability trade. But everybody trades differently, and that's why the market moves. And a difference of opinion is just that, it is only a difference of opinion. So let's move on to the next currency pair. Yeah, Cody, we had nothing on the euro dollar. Not unless you've got anything specific you want to look at. Oh yeah, I was looking at something on the euro New Zealand, that's why I went to it. It was an AB equals CD pattern. So we have, with a pattern, a swing in the market. We've got a move. We duplicate this. We move it up. I'm actually going to do this on the 60 because that's where I saw the pattern. And then I'm going to highlight the wicks because the wicks is where we look for those rotation patterns. And as we come into the structure zone, the completion of the AB equals CD pattern, I'm going to be dropping one time frame lower and I'm going to be looking for, give me a clue guys, what's the two things I'm going to be looking for on these AB equals CD patterns? Some of the most common patterns that you can get within the Forex market, but we add additional confluence by adding more strategies. And what are they? Double tops and head and shoulders. Exactly. Now, what are we forming here? We have a small swing in the market, a fairly directional move. We have just seen a pullback. That pullback has happened before we tested the blue box, the structure level. What could this be the start of? It could be nothing more than trend continuation, first of all, but what could it be the start of? Nick, head and shoulders. Yeah, not a double top. A double top would have to occur within the blue highlighted area, which is the wicks. Okay, but head and shoulders, we get the left shoulder that forms before we hit structure. So if I was to draw this out so that you can visualize it, this would then become the head. few things can happen from this point. Now, Bosa, what we could get is we could get something called a double-headed potential head and shoulders. And I like these. I prefer them. If this was just a straight line and we get a double top, that's fine, but I much prefer to see this because after a rally, it shows that the bulls are running out of steam. We see a very small pullback, and look at where the pullback came to. It didn't even come back down to retest structure, and then the bulls have taken over again. So we could end up with a double top here. What will then happen is you can either enter aggressively here for the double top, or we could wait for a confirmed break below, close below of the double top. It may even come lower. We can then look for a pullback into a 61.8 fib. There's the 61.8 fib, and then you could use that as your entry. Now, because this is an AB equals CD pattern, I play for fib targets. And I'll just leave the 382 on, just make it easier, just as though we're playing for one target. You would then enter, well, you would enter here with stops above the high, targets would be down here. So probably a 1 to a 1.5 reward to risk, but high probability trade because AB equals CD pattern, coming into structure, potential head and shoulders, double top, which has been confirmed because you've had the violation to the downside. So I'm very happy to take these setups, even if they're just under a 1-to-1 reward to risk, because they have well over a 50% chance of going on to hit targets. So that's what I'm also looking for on the Euro New Zealand. And of course, if we come down and hit the 382 and then rally on up for our bigger head and shoulders, well, great. So any questions on that, guys? That is also what I'm waiting for. Euro New Zealand. I've done that. Euro Aussie. Let's go and take a look at the Euro Aussie. Have we already done the Euro Aussie, guys? I looked at all the currency pairs about 3 times this morning, and I'm not too sure. Yeah, we have. We've already done this, haven't we? We're looking at a big potential head and shoulders there, so we'll leave that one. Let's go and take a look at the pound dollar. I really don't have too much on the radar, I'm afraid, guys. It's one of those days where there's a few potentials, but nothing really. There is a bit of news out, by the way. We have some speaker talking about the FOMC at 2 o'clock. I can't imagine there's going to be much movement there, though, to be honest. Pound dollar. Well, we've spoken about this for so long, and we never got that potential head and shoulders. In fact, right now, it's looking like we are violating the lows. So for those people that didn't see it, we had a potential back pattern here. If it's valid for you, the entry was here, and we never hit. You can see that 382 was not hit, and we was looking at a potential head and shoulders. So we had the left shoulder, we had the head, and then the right shoulder, and we was looking for an entry within the wicks, just here. Just like on the Euro New Zealand, but in this instance, we never got the double bottom. But in the Euro New Zealand, we obviously did. So we stayed out the trade, and price is now pushing lower. And to be honest, I really don't have a great deal on here. Does anybody else? It was, yeah. You know, we got 80% of the way there. And for me, that means there's a higher probability we're going to go and hit targets than not. I look at it like trend continuation. If we get 80% of the way towards targets in trend continuation, well then, you know, we've made over 50% of the move. It never happened. Of course, the trade is still valid, you know, until this level, until we violate this level down here, the trade is still valid, but it's such a big trade. It's not anything I'm interested in. nothing here, guys, to be honest. Structure level on here at our most recent level. And what we have done is, because of this long spike, it means that the most recent level is actually this one now, and now we do have a confirmed break below, close below. And let me move this down to the close of the candles and look left. And what we've done here is we've actually closed below this level, but we're within this wick. So for me, there's absolutely nothing here, guys. I'm quite happy to stay away from anything like this, unless there's anything on the lower time frames. I'm sitting on my hands for this pair until we break that wick. Yeah, exactly, Cody. To be honest, I think that's what I'm going to be doing. Unless we start seeing some directional movement and some maybe breakout patterns, because here on the 15, what we're doing is we are trending move lower, outside return, move lower, outside return, move lower. This was a breakout pattern. Okay, move lower, outside return, move lower. So I would look for breakout patterns. But that's all I would look for. I wouldn't be interested in any type of counter trend or trend continuation move. And we have a potential low and tight flag. Looking like this. Okay, let's see if this is valid. I'm a bit dubious because I'm really not liking this currency pair right now. Let me just go out to the 240 and look, see if we're at any type of structure level again. So we're in the wick. Here's the thing, this wick we can see buying pressure at any point. The chances are we're probably going to come down to test the low of it though. But in terms of a structure-based trade, nothing I'm interested in. But if we get a breakout pattern, then that is something I might be interested in. And this is forming, this what looks like a double bottom, is not forming at structure. And therefore, we can look at this as a potential low and tight flag. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. We need the 4th touch for this to be valid. Now, can anybody tell me a concern I have with this, and it's to do with this pole. Remember, this is a pattern, and what do I like to see with patterns? What do I always say? When it's a pattern, we typically have something in the market. Let's put it in the chat and let me know. And it's this here. Something with this that I'm not too happy about. Because it's a pattern, I like to see a swing in the market, an impulse move. Yes, Cody, exactly. And here there isn't one. Now that does not mean that the trade is not valid, but it does mean that I don't know where to draw the pole from, and that's very important for working out where my targets are. So let's just go and take a look at, right, we have this level of structure right here, and if we zoom in, you could make the case that this may be the start of it. If we go and take a look at the 5 range, it gives us a different look at price action, and it may show a swing. And no, it doesn't. It doesn't help at all. Okay, so yeah, potential low and tight flag here. If I was going to take it, I would take it from this big bull candle right here. If you're going to take it from the safest place possible. And that would be this big bearish candle. What does this candle represent, guys? Okay, so bigger picture here, 15-minute, we're in trend, aren't we? We're moving quite nicely, so we don't want to take anything on the higher time frame because of the setup. But because we're moving fairly directionally, like we have been doing here, what does a big bearish candle represent? this one. This is the biggest candle on the screen. What does it represent? Momentum, exactly. And that's what we tend to see with flag patterns and pretty much all breakout patterns. The more directional the pole, the more, the higher the probability of the breakout, because this says that, look, there's been more sellers here compared to the rest of the charts. That means there's a higher probability of breaking to the downside. Yeah, the sellers are taking over. And all that happens is the sellers push so hard, they may take profits, they may run out of steam, we may see more buyers come back into the market at this level, and all that then happens is that we just see sideways movement until all these sellers again that were in this big candle get back involved in the market again to sell the market. So yeah, this is a valid opportunity. I would draw from swing low to the top of the bull candle and look for that 127, and we can then drop to the 5 minute, and it is looking like we're just going to push straight through here, but we will see. We'll see if we come back up and hold this level, come back up for a retest, then we're going to be looking for our entry signals. Is this big enough to take? Yeah, there's about 18 pips in it, something like that. So pound dollar, we'll keep an eye on that. If you're new, all of this that I'm talking about right now is in the educational material on the website, freeforex.education.co.uk. And more than that, all the very specific rules that I look at to validate these patterns. Also, low and tight flags, they are my most profitable strategy. They're not my favourite, but they are my most profitable because we follow the rules and we take them in certain situations. So keep an eye on that, guys. Should we take a 5 minute break? And we will maybe go over a few more currency pairs. Is Todd in the room yet? Because he had a question and I spent about an hour or two going over trying to answer his question and we weren't quite understanding each other. Don't think he's in the room because I wanted to run over that. Okay guys, let's take a 5 minute break and we'll come back and do a few more currency pairs. If you have anything in the meantime, just chuck it in the chat. Any questions, we'll go over it. Apart from that, I will see you in 5 minutes. Okay guys, we're back. We're back. That's a very quick 5 minutes. Anybody get coffee? I'm on black coffee now, no milk. Black coffee, a sweetener, that's it for me. Far healthier. So on the pound dollar, we have held, haven't we guys? Look, we have held, and we have put in, I can move this, let me delete that and move this down. We've also put in a doji. So a sign here that there is some buying pressure. So we may see a little pop here to the upside. Love the video break. Took me a few hours to put that together. I like the one where banging his head against the wall, saying longest 5 minutes ever, and I actually like all of it. There's a few anecdotes in there as well, which are things like buy the highs and sell the lows. I don't know if Sarah, I knew you'd like it. I knew you'd like it, but it's absolutely true. Women make great traders. I can't say that you make better traders than men because I can't be seen to be sexist. But women have a completely different personality, a different attitude, should I say, to their emotions. Okay, let me put it this way. And psychology is an incredibly important part of trading. In fact, for me, that's what trading is. It's all psychology, and women can deal with breakups far better than men. Women can spend time on their own, whereas a lot of men can't. And guys, I'm generalising here, so please bear that in mind. But generally speaking, women are emotionally stronger and able to deal with things that life throws at them. And since trading is an emotional game, it's psychology, it's the reason why 90% of people fail. That is why they make excellent traders. Ian, could be an ego thing. Yeah. Pete, yeah, I like to spend days at a time alone. I read that successful people can spend time alone. They read books by themselves, and they're just happy in their own company. I'm not happy in my own company, if I'm completely honest. I've got to have somebody to nag. I've got to have somebody to moan to. I've got to have the kids around me so I can make fun of them, chase after them, go out on the bikes with them. That's me. That's my personality. But yeah, I don't do very well on my own. You leave me on holiday, say for a couple of days with a book, I'll go insane. Drive me mad. For men, I mean. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. So, we're getting the reaction here, guys, and I don't have my alerts set. So I can't set an alert for this. So can you guys monitor this for me? I'll keep it open here, but if we come up to retest these highs and we get an entry signal, this will be a live trade that we can take in this room. Pete, you're envious. I like your honesty. Yeah, I like company. I hate being on my own. Hate the sound of my own voice as well. When I have to listen back to these recordings, which I do a lot, because I like to look for ways to improve it. This is all fairly new to me doing the webinar thing, so I'm always looking for ways to improve. The pound yen, Pete, look, see, Pete. Everybody has emotional problems, and I know Pete's emotions have been up and down to do with different trades and things. And within the chat forum, we've been saying, as a community, we're stronger and we're going to hold this trade together, because together it's just easier because we're all in it. And I know Pete has done very well. He's got control of his emotions. He's held this trade. Now, we haven't had the confirmed breakout, but doesn't it look like we could have it? Okay, and this is the importance of following the rules. Doesn't matter whether we go up, we go down, we go left, we go right. We entered in for a reason and we have to let the trade play out. Of course, there are a few exceptions to the rules, like the Aussie dollar CAD, where we'd violated the double bottom and I had the chance to exit for just 4 pips instead of 9. So, Marcus, that's very true. I've spoken so much, I don't know what you mean. All of it was true. We'll just say that I'm right in everything and we'll just put an end to it. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is the New Zealand yen. That's the other trade that I'm in. This has been a painful trade, but it's still ongoing, and I think we are in profit. It was in profit 5 or 6 pips the last time I looked. Oh, two pips, okay. So I'll just talk through this trade and the importance of holding these trades. So what we had here on the daily is we had a move lower, a pullback, then we made a new low, but we only just made a new low. So this is a sign that we're running out of steam and we could actually see a very deep retracement. But we did more than that, we actually violated. So here on the dailies, there is nothing for me at all. I'm not interested in buying or selling, but as we drop down the time frames, I'm going to take a look at the 240. Oh, NetDania app, you can also set alerts. These alerts I've had for about 4 years, and I bought them from a company that did the coding for just Ninja. God, it was so long ago, I can't remember, but I haven't downloaded them to this PC. So, what are we looking at here? I'm looking at a channel, guys, and this channel can, well, first of all, the pole can be from here or it can be from here, it doesn't matter. But as we draw this out based on the closes of the candles, and it was like this, then what happened is we had, actually I'll duplicate it first, because this could be a potential flag pattern. So we had a touch at the top, touch at the bottom. This meant this was not a valid touch, because if we did this in real time, just to show you, this would have been like that. Okay, but since we came up for the third touch and price went higher, it means that we have to adjust to like this. And right here, you can see we've got a little retest. Now, this is not a valid double top for me. We don't have the RSI confirmation, but we've held structure, and it's an indication that then this could be a channel, and with channels, we see rotation patterns. And we don't just see one, we see multiple. I talk about this in the educational material. Channels can be so profitable if you can get in early and you can spot the signs. And I spotted the sign that this could be a channel, and so what I did was I used a back pattern. I think this was an X to A to B, was it? B to C, CD completion up here. We got filled, and because it's a channel, again, time and time again, we see rotation patterns inside of them. We have now formed a double top. Is it a confirmed double top, guys? Yay, it is. It is a confirmed double top, because if I put a structure level on in there, we have now had a confirmed break below, close below this level. Okay, so has the probability now increased of this trade going lower than going higher? Stewie, we are all brothers and sisters in the platform, isn't that right, Peter? Are you a sister, Pete? Or are you a brother? Lower, exactly. Those of you, well, a couple of things here, guys. Where do you think price is going to go to? If this is a channel, and we typically see double tops, and we also see head and shoulders and channels. Yeah, we also see head and shoulders and channels because they are rotation patterns. These are all signs that we're entering a channel. Where do you think price could come to? Could certainly come lower, but where would you look at taking profits? Down at this level, down at the retest of this trend line. That's where my targets are. In actual fact, I might be able to move my targets a lot lower because they're going to be dynamic. And if price, first of all, goes straight down in the most directional way that it can do, then we're going to hit. However, price typically doesn't move in a straight line. What if we do this? Then the target is actually all the way down here now. So in actual fact, we move our target down, okay? Because we need a minimum of 4 touches for this channel to be valid. Therefore, since we've only had 3, the 4th touch hasn't happened yet. So that's where I'm going to be looking at taking targets. So it's going to be dynamic, guys. So we may have to adjust targets. Okay, I'm just going to move this up a little bit for now. But those of you that are not in it, I'm just going to remove my orders. Those of you that are not in this trade, how can you guys get involved in this trade? Since we've had a double top, the double top has been confirmed. I know quite a lot of you now are around halfway through the educational material. Obviously, you're not doing your back testing and things, but those of you that have done this or are just starting this, and this is a confirmed double top, Ian 2618, exactly. So you put a fib on from the swing high to the swing low. You look for that 61.8. That didn't work. Oh, there we go. Computer's slow. Pull back to that 618, which would actually pull back right now into your trend line. And you could get involved and look at shorting it and playing for the same targets that I am, make them dynamic however you want. So this is actually quite a nice trade now that we've had the confirmation. I think I had 48 pips of potential reward. I've moved my target now, so I'm not too sure, but 47 for 22. Let me just throw this out to everybody. What's the average reward to risk that you guys take? Let me rephrase that, because my reward to risk can be quite good sometimes. Before you came into my room, what's an average reward to risk that you guys would take on a trade? Doesn't matter if it's a breakout pattern, a back pattern, a trend continuation. Stewie, okay, 1-to-1 minimum, okay. What would be the average that you'd take? Is it, say, just a 1 to a 1.2, a 1 to a 1.5? Is it a 1 to 10? What's the average based on your trading history? 2-to-1. Sarah, you like 2-to-1. Okay, so do you only take trades that have a 2-to-1 reward to risk, Sarah? Marcus, about a 1.6. Okay, good, good. So this trade setup then has over a 2-to-1 reward to risk currently. Stewie, anywhere between, anywhere between a 1-to-1 and a 2-to-1. Ashraf, usually just a 1-to-1. Ian, 1 to 1 to 3. Okay, so big variety there. So this is, would you agree then that this is just over a 2-to-1 reward to risk? And based on everything that we've just been through, the fact that this is a potential channel, and we have confirmation it's a potential channel because it's already forming those rotation patterns. We have the back pattern, we have the double top has now been confirmed. And so not only now are we in the position where we have over a 2-to-1 reward to risk, but we now have a high probability trade. And when we get the two of them together, that for me is, it's gold. I absolutely love it. It doesn't always happen. And of course, we don't know what's going to happen. But if I consistently risk 22 pips for 47, and even if I only have a 50% win rate, well, I'm going to be doing very, very well. Now this, obviously we don't know that this is an actual channel, but I would say that this is a higher probability than a 50%. We're probably looking about 60%. So give me these trades day in, day out. And it's just forming a bias. You know, my bias is that this could be a channel because it's given me these signals. So Sarah, just on the signals, just to answer my question, really, when we send out signals. Oh, by the way, everyone, Sarah is now a full member of the team. She's fully subscribed, so welcome, Sarah. When I send out a trade signal, will you only take it if it's a 2-to-1 reward to risk? And it doesn't matter. I just curious. That's all. And I'm just going to go and check on the pound dollar. It's looking like we may not get that retracement back up to that level. I'm in the pound Aussie AB equals CD pattern as well, guys. I don't know if those of you would have got the signals that are fully subscribed for it. It's worth about 90 pips. We've had the confirmation. Fully expect this thing to go higher. And the reason for that is because this little shelf just here of structure, higher high, higher close, higher high, higher close. This is a hammer, so we've got a longer wick to the downside than we do to the top, and we closed in the top 20%. So everything here indicating going higher. And I've got my stop behind a lovely triple bottom and a psychological number. So AB equals CD pattern. I've not got it drawn out on here, but this is how it looks. AB equals CD pattern. And then looking for fib-based targets. So a few nice patterns that we're in. Fingers crossed that they can hit. Be lovely for this to hit for 90. Be lovely for the pound yen. And of course we've got around 50 pips on the New Zealand yen. So fingers crossed we've got some good opportunities there. No I take all. Sarah put no I take all. Whatever you post for now, as I'm becoming familiar. Okay, all right, it's fine. Just so I know, that's all. I like to get an idea of people's trading style because everybody's trading style is different. And also, guys, just to let you know that in a few, you guys know that there's a lot of improvements going on in the background with the chat system at the moment. And there will be some new features which you'll be able to see and have access to and things. And when all that's finished, I will actually be doing more webinars, and particularly for new people that are just learning to understand structure. And I'm going to dedicate some weekends because the majority of traders don't have free time, they work full time. And the reason why they're doing trading is so that they can give up the job and have more time and trade from home for more money. And just give me a yes if that's you, if that's one of you people. Is that why you got into trading? And it's very difficult for those people then to find time to do the back testing, to be in the webinars. They may have questions that they want to ask when I'm on a particular currency pair and they can't. So I'm going to be dedicating additional webinars to those people and some weekends as well. So got to shoot. Okay, Pete, take care. Stewie, yeah. Stewie, CP, yeah. Cody, 100% on point. Cody's been trading for quite a while now. Cody's a pretty good trader. I think Cody will agree. There's just a couple of areas I think he wants to improve on. But Cody is certainly getting there, and I know that he is desperate to give up his main job and become a full-time trader. You know, the ideal job is trade 2 to 3 hours a day, have an amount of money that you trade, have a set portfolio, a set position size, and know roughly what your return on investment will be every quarter, every month, every 6 months, every year. And so give him that, not just money, but give him time, because that's what we're all after. I'm 39 in December, going to be hitting 40 soon, and I have spent the majority of my life working 12-hour days. And I've had enough of it. My time is being more dedicated to the children and the wife more than anything else. But obviously, the last few months I've been putting a lot of work into Forex, the educational material, the website, getting things right, understanding what people want, and trying to accommodate everybody. Yeah, Cody, yeah, very much so, up and down, up and down. This is my goal for sure. Time is everything. It certainly is. You only get one chance at life, but you get multiple chances at earning money. Okay, so the next currency pair, and again, if you guys have something, let me know. Right, let's go and take a look at the euro yen. The euro yen was what I wanted to discuss with Todd, and I know that he's not in the room. So we'll do the review, but then I'm just going to, actually I'll just do the review. So, right, so we had a swing in the market. We then had the market coiling. So this touch here did not test the closes of the candles, and as per the educational material, it's an indication we're coiling. We've had 4 touches. And so right down in this level just here was an area to look to buy the market up to play for a retest of the highs. Now my concern with this channel was that it wasn't, we didn't have a steep gradient. You know, it wasn't like this. We were only just having a gradient, you know, we were only just going higher. So that was my concern on this. But if we go to the 240, we had that cipher pattern that we spoke about, and you could have used this as the entry to play for a retest of the highs. I'm not too sure if this is hit now. Yeah, it's now hit targets. But this happened during the 4th of, was it the 4th of July? It was the holiday in America, and I just didn't want to get involved when we just had no kind of movement. So right now I've got nothing here on this. Go and take a look at the 60. Even looking for long opportunities for a retest of that upper trend line. This is a bit weak for me, and the way price is moving, there really isn't a great deal here. Shoot it in the chat if you've got anything on this currency pair. You guys are talking about ages. Stewie 32 next month, and I'm hoping to be profitable by the time I'm 34. Would you believe I've got security knocking at the door? You would not believe it, guys. Sorry. Give me 2 minutes. I'm just doing it right now for 100 people. Give me half an hour. No problem. Thank you. No problem. Okay, my car is parked, he said, in a place where it should be traffic free. He wants me to move it. I said, give me half an hour. Thank God he's not giving me a ticket. Yeah, just maxed out their Wi-Fi. Yeah. Yeah, it should only be used for browsing. I got my spade out and dug up the internet cable and tapped right into it. Okay, so let me catch up with the chats. Really reasonable time frame. Okay, let me just go back a bit. 32, Cody Brown, love it, Stewie. Very realistic, just turned 28. Sarah, really reasonable time frame, Stewie. I've been learning for the last 18 months. Dollar yen rising channel. Okay, we're going to take a look at that. Listen to Chris, he will tell them to do one. I did it in a polite way. I said, give me half an hour. Okay. Okay, so we've got to go and take a look at the dollar yen. Let's go and take a look at that now then. And I think, guys, we'll make this the last one. Unless there's anything in particular to look at then. Then it's looking like a quiet day other than the trades that we're in. So, okay, first of all, we're in this gigantic big wick, and within that wick we could see buying pressure at any time, so we want to be cautious. But we are trending here, or at least we may have violated. We had a move lower, we had a pullback, we had a move lower, we had a pullback, we had a move lower and a pullback. And do we now have a confirmed violation of this level? Not yet, not on the dailies anyway. But as you can see, this was the high just here, and we are pushing higher. So while we have no confirmation, it does look as though we're going higher. In fact, on the 240, we may have that confirmation already. Yes, we do. In actual fact, guys, I had a trade on this morning, and I think it's just hit targets. I never got involved though because it wasn't quite high probability enough, so I'll actually run through that trade and just show it to you. Cody also brought 4-hour structure. Yeah, we have done. So could this be a head and shoulders? Well, not for me. This would just be a trend rotation. Head and shoulders, we're looking for a swing, but what happened then is we saw a pullback. So if this is the swing, then this would be the left shoulder, and then we went really a lot lower than the left shoulder. So there's no head and shoulders here for me, guys, but there is a potential trend rotation because we violated this level of structure. Let me drop down to the 60, and I see what Marcus is looking at, a potential rising channel. It's only early, but this is what he's looking at. So it's a pattern, and again, guys, we're typically looking for a swing in the market, and the pole usually dictates how much buying or selling pressure there is. And look, lots and lots of bullish candles, and then we can look for, I think we would have to draw it this way. It's very early, so I'm not too sure which way is going to be valid for this rising channel. Let's look left. I do need them to come into structure. And if we move this up, see the structure here, this is an area I would look, or even here. And as we zoom in, we're not quite up at that level yet. So it's something to look at if we do go a little higher. So let's have a look at the trading opportunity that I was interested in. I was so close to sending it out as a trade signal and I didn't. So structure level on at the very highest point, which is just here, and you can see that we did violate structure. And if I just draw this out, we had a move higher. At this point we held structure, we saw a pullback, then we had a new high, and then we had a pullback. Okay, so I was looking for long opportunities within this area. And as per the rules in the educational material, we are allowed to drop one time frame lower, and that would be the 15. And we simply look for a higher high, higher close candle, which was this one right here. So this would have been my entry. Stops going ATR below the lowest point. The ATR is currently 5, so that would have made 63. So I'm just going to make that red. And the lowest point is this one. Let me do that again. The lowest point is this one. And then targets, well, if you only played for a retest of the highs, and if we did this in real time, if you played for a retest of the highs, it would only be up to this level. But we did have a psychological number up there, 10900, which is just there. In fact, we haven't quite gotten to it yet. And if I just go back to the 60, that actually comes in at structure. It comes in at this structure level just here. So previous structure, psychological number, high probability that we were going to go up to there. So I was looking at playing for an extension up to that 109. However, I would have front run by 2 pips and it would have made the reward like this. I'm just going to make that green. Green is for money after all. And that was the trade. So since then, what we did is we made a new high, a pullback, another new high, and another pullback. So technically, we're still in trend here, guys. So as long as we hold this area here, you can look for a higher high, higher close, and a chance to ride it up. I didn't get involved because I can't remember the reason why. It would have been 15 for 21, and we never hit targets. We could still go on and hit targets, but that was the opportunity that I had on the radar. So Cody hit the 127 extension perfectly. So if you're interested in a trade, we are in trend. This is your outside return here. And if you get a higher high, higher close, stops going ATR below the low, and then look for playing for whatever targets you want. I personally wouldn't, not now. The trade for me was this one down here because your stop was in a far safer position. But yeah, I didn't post that one out. So, any questions on the dollar yen? Pound dollar going back up, guys, look. Still an opportunity, that one. Pound Aussie, 19 up. Pound yen, 80 up, though technically it's 160. And that's it, guys. I have nothing else. Nothing else, guys. Yeah, there you go, Marcus. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see if we can get an entry. I'd love the RSI to go oversold as well and get a lower close, just to give a little bit more confirmation on this trade, because we don't have that swing in the market. I'd love to see that. So we'll wait and see what happens when price gets up to that level. But apart from that, guys, is there any other questions before we wrap this up? It's been a good session. This is, I think, an hour and 50. Covered quite a few things. But yeah, watch out for in a few weeks' time, those of you that have just joined or are new or are not too sure on structure, holds and violations, double tops, double bottoms. Basic concept of structure is what we're going to be going over, and I'm going to be dedicating some weekends. So yeah, watch out for that. I'll let you know when that'll happen in a few weeks. Apart from that then, guys, if there's no questions, I'm going to thank you all again for joining me. It is always a pleasure to have you here. And if you're not involved within the chat or haven't registered with freeforexeducation.co.uk, registration is free. Half of the educational material is free, some of the webinars as well. Of course, we do offer the trade signals. And I'm just going to throw it in there. We had a 241 pip winning week last week. Just throw that in there just so everybody's aware. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, and I will see you on the next webinar.